Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Study Abroad Weekly Show with myself, Trip, and my good friend,
I'm Ryan.
Ryan. This week, we're going to be talking about our excursion to Paris, France.
Yep. So we decided to take the Eurostar to to Paris, France. Which, if you don't know what the Eurostar is, it's basically a train that runs under the English Channel. It leaves from London St. Pancras International and goes straight into Paris. And it's a really cool, really fast train. Gets you straight into Paris in about 3 hours, 2 hours sometimes with the time change between Paris and London. But you just go underwater in the English Channel and basically sleep. We took a really early train, sleep on the train, wake up, and you're in Paris. It's a pretty cool thing to do that it kind of blows our mind when you think about it. But.
Yeah, just how fast it is. Also, a lot more laid back as far as security goes. So there's always customs, but
you could take any liquids you want on it. So we could take all shampoo, stuff like that. Didn't have to worry about 300 milliliters or
right.
So that makes it really convenient. So then we were in Paris.
And that morning, we went straight to the Louvre. We decided to hit it hard. Spent probably 2.5 to 3 hours at the Louvre, if not more.
Yeah, probably more. It's the world's largest museum, and I bet we saw. I'd like to say 3/4 of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's still you literally get lost in it. There's just so much there, including probably the main thing,
which was
the Mona Lisa. Yeah, so the actual Mona Lisa is in the Louvre, which tends to be the thing that everyone really goes to the Louvre for, and everyone kind of crowds around and tries to see it. And it is really cool to see. Some people think it's bigger than they thought it was. Some people think it's smaller than they thought it was. But
I'd always heard that it was like a portrait or something, which it's actually pretty good sized. It's about the size of what you would expect, but some people, like you said, have different ideas. But just seeing the people crowd around it, it was like Katy Perry was at the Louvre or something.
Yeah, unreal.
It was just everyone budging their way, everyone taking pictures, selfies with it.
Yeah, it's definitely like the thing. There's a lot of stuff in the Louvre, like a lot of cool stuff. But that is like the main thing that people go for now. And they say that if you walk by it, like by the Mona Lisa, it'll apparently follow you. Like the eyes will follow and look at you.
Yeah, which I didn't get a chance to do because, like I said, just the mob of people trying to get
really crowded.
Oh, and super secure as well. No chance of touching it with the glass pane and security guards and stuff.
But on top of the whole high security thing, apparently, I don't remember what year it was, but at some point not too long ago, one of the workers who worked in the Louvre and was responsible for guarding the Mona Lisa actually stole the Mona Lisa for 3 years and replaced it with a really good-looking duplicate. And people were seeing the Mona Lisa for 3 years, thinking they were seeing the real thing, when in fact they weren't. And after that 3 years, it was eventually returned, and I'm sure the guy was prosecuted in some way. But just really cool. I don't remember where I saw that in there.
He fell in love with it. I think that came up on our river tour, which we'll get to later.
But really weird to think that. How disappointing would it be if you later found out that the Mona Lisa you were looking at wasn't actually the real thing? So luckily, the one we were looking at was the real one.
As far as we know.
So.
So the entire Louvre was awesome. Probably familiar with the whole kind of crystal pyramid above it. That's kind of the main entrance. And they had all kinds of different stuff. We saw a lot of history for, it feels like every museum has their own collection of Greek and Roman sculpture.
So much of it.
Right, yeah, because I guess it's just everywhere. And then my favorite exhibit was they had, it was temporary, but it was a history of how humans explain their experiences through literature. So we have we have Hercules.
In the Greek mythology, you had a lot of Greek mythology.
Greek mythology to start out with. We had Ra, the sun god, the Egyptian sun god, to explain why there's this big sun in the sky. And then we went all the way to Darth Vader, which they had Star Wars stuff, which I really enjoyed. I got some pictures of the throwback posters and authentic Darth Vader helmet.
So. Yeah, the helmet was really cool to see. Yeah. It was a lot, at least to me, it was a lot bigger.
Oh, yeah. No, it was massive.
Than you would think. The helmet was huge. But yeah, that was a really cool exhibit in the museum. But the museum itself is just unbelievable. It's just so big, and it's just you can't put into perspective how big it is till you're walking around and you're like, oh, well, we came in way over there, and then we somehow landed on the complete other side of the building.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Pretty nuts.
But yeah, so then we left the Louvre, got some pictures outside of it, just because it's the touristy thing to do. Did not get pickpocketed.
Which was good.
Which
we
was
got
good.
approached by some children trying to get us to sign petitions, and
yeah, pickpockets are a huge thing in Paris, and especially around the Louvre and Arc de Triomphe, which we'll get to, and all the big tourist spots. Obviously, they just have a major pickpocket problem, but you just have to always kind of stay on your toes, and they'll try to come up to you and be like, "Do you speak English? Can you sign this form?" And it's just not a good idea, really, ever to, because it's usually little kids coming up to you and asking. So the little kids are trying
evil.
Yeah, the little kids are basically usually trying to distract you, so you like let your guard down or you pull out your wallet and then they can take it from you, or someone will come up behind you.
Yep. So it's actually one of the only English phrases I heard consistently on like public broadcasts and signs was "watch out for pickpockets."
Yeah, they have a major issue with it, and English is obviously not their language, but in many places it's like, well, everyone's still gonna understand English. France, not so much, at least not Paris. Most places were pretty limited on the English. A lot of the tourism places obviously spoke a good amount, but just everywhere else you'd hardly ever hear English. Restaurants usually said what it was in English under it, but the waiters and waitresses would very rarely probably understand it. You pretty much just pointed on the menu as to what you wanted, which was interesting, especially coming from London, where we don't have a language barrier here in London, obviously, really. So that was a big culture shock, I guess, for us. But
shouldn't say there's no language barrier at all.
There is some here in London, but it's at least understandable.
Funny when we say that we weren't wearing pants or something like that, because to them underwear is pants. And
the trousers.
Pants are trousers.
It's quite that. There is definitely things in England where there's differences, but it's not like the whole language is different.
Right. Anyways, moving on from the Louvre, we had to go back and do like a little power nap sesh at the hostel.
It'd been a really long night for us.
Absolutely. So 3:34, we went back, checked in, and took a power nap. Got back up around somewhere between 6 and 7. Took the Paris Metro to the Eiffel Tower, and I think it was really. I can definitely recommend seeing the Eiffel Tower at night. Even if it's your first time seeing it, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And right as we got there, we got the whole experience where the Eiffel Tower lights up and kind of glimmers and
kind of sparkles every hour on the hour.
Sight to see for sure. It was massive. It sounds obvious, but I was still like blown away and underestimated just how large the Eiffel Tower was.
Yeah, and the Eiffel Tower was built a long time ago. It was built for the World Fair when it was being held in Paris, and it was only supposed to be up for the World Fair for 3 years, I think was the total time. But after the World Fair, they decided it was probably best to just leave it up and not waste the resources and money to take it down. And for them, looking back, it was a great decision.
It's a no-brainer.
Because it's pretty much the staple of Paris. Yeah, when you think of Paris, France, the first thing that's going to come to your mind is the Eiffel Tower. So it's interesting to think that they were supposed to tear it down, which tearing something like that down sounds so
pretty
stupid
sad.
and sad. So, but yeah, really big thing to see. Crowds there were crazy, as usual at a major tourist thing. And there's all these people trying to sell the little mini Eiffel Towers. They're just walking around trying to sell them on a thing.
Which honestly, they're a good deal. You can get 5 of the little baby ones for just €1, so just over $1. Not bad.
Yeah, but sometimes they're not technically supposed to be selling there.
Right.
And they tell you not to really buy from them because they can be sketchy. So you just kind of have to be careful if you are going to buy from them.
Right.
And the other interesting thing, I think, is as you're like walking the grounds to where the Eiffel Tower is in the gardens, kind of, there's people walking around selling like bottles of wine, bottles of champagne, just on the street selling them to you, which is really, really weird. But
yeah,
it was nice.
there's probably just too many of them at this point for them all to be shut down. So it's just kind of something that they let happen.
It's just probably not worth it.
Yeah, and so they'll sell you a $5 bottle of champagne for $25, unless you haggle with them, which we did. I think we got pretty decent prices. But
yeah, they made some good deals and stuff. But yeah, so the Eiffel Tower is at night is a sight to behold. It's absolutely beautiful and really cool to be there and see it.
I guess just after that we went home, woke up early the next day to walk the Champs-Élysées, which is the main shopping drag of Paris, where at the top you can see the Arc de Triomphe.
Arc de Triomphe.
Which was, once again, something that was just blew me away even more than I ever could have imagined. Just a massive structure.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I need to look more into what exactly was inscribed on it and what it meant, because it's clearly a war memorial, but I wasn't sure if it was names of soldiers or things along those lines. But still a very cool thing to see.
And it's basically the middle of a giant circle roundabout. So it's just this massive structure that everyone's driving around, and then on one side of it is the Champs-Élysées, which is the most expensive shopping street in the world. And just really unique shops.
Yeah, really cool stuff.
Over the top.
Yeah, famous cafes. I got some delicious macaroons. I think
La Dupree, I guess.
Dubray or Dupree or something like that. Highly recommend the Marie Antoinette macaroon. Delicious.
Even on the Champs-Élysées, though, it's obviously you're going to have your, there's a Louis Vuitton shop. There's all your, top name designers. But there's also car dealerships.
Ton of car dealerships.
And they're not there's not a Ferrari dealership. It is there's a Renault dealership, a Citroën, a Peugeot, which are basically the three main brands of Europe of car.
French cars that they don't even import to America. They don't import them,
yeah. So. But they're not just your normal car dealerships. These are massive places with multiple floors and just over the top, extravagant. They're selling merchandise like umbrellas and stuff in them. The one dealership that I'd actually been to before when I was in Paris in 2006 actually has its own restaurant in it, which a car dealership having a restaurant makes no sense.
Yeah, strange,
but it's just they get that much foot traffic into their dealerships because they're so over the top that it can be worth it. There was a Disney store. Disney store Paris.
There was just a small. I was kind of disappointed. It was just a small section of French, special stuff of Disney, T-shirts and things like that. Most of it was the same kind of product you would find in an American Disney store. So.
And there is a Disneyland actually in Paris. We didn't end up going because it's pretty expensive. And we didn't think it was really going to be worth it. We'd rather see the history and the sightseeing in Paris rather than Disneyland.
Right.
But there is one in Paris. Champs-Élysées was super cool. And then we had lunch off a side street at kind of a little bread cafe kind of thing. Had a panini, baguette, those kind of things, which bread is everywhere.
Just so much bread.
I had so much bread over the weekend.
It's all carbs.
Yeah. But hey.
Not bad.
Not bad. Really good baguettes, really fresh bread, obviously, as they're always known for.
After the Champs-Élysées, we went and had dinner with Ellen's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francis. Thank you very much. If you're watching this, it was probably the best meal I've had in my abroad experience. It was amazing.
We had escargot, which I don't think either of us had escargot prior.
Escargot.
And I'm not my parents are probably gonna watch this and be they're shocked that I had it. But I'm not an adventurous eater. But I was when in Paris, when in Rome, when in Paris, it's kind of the same thing. Might as well try it. It really wasn't at all what I expected. It was really good.
Yeah. No, I expected a slimy texture and
seafood taste.
Not at all. To me, it was that best cut of steak that you get with your steak, and you just want to keep chewing it. It was that with every different.
And then
snail.
a cream sauce. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
I could have made a whole meal.
Oh,
off
definitely.
of the escargot.
Yeah.
But then we also had our main course, which I had duck. Which duck is always good.
I just had a good steak.
But yeah, escargot. I think everyone has this stigma about it, because it is a snail, so it is going to be slimy and gross.
Yeah.
But if it's really not.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I would easily order it again in that fashion.
And then we had some French desserts. Let's see.
I had chocolate mousse. It kind of is French.
Yeah. I remember Kirsty got a creme brulee, which I tried, which was awesome. Actually, I'm having a hard time remembering what I had, but
You had a banana thing, didn't you?
oh, that's right. It did have banana in it.
The desserts were really good. French
were
are always,
once
French are also known for their baking, always known for their baking and all their baked goods. So really great meal. And that was down near.
Plenty of red wine. As well
to go around. So that was down by the Louvre. So we got to see the Louvre at night too, which was cool. To see the triangle entrance period lit up. And then at that point, we just went back to the hostel and napped. Now we were actually there. We got there Friday, and we were actually staying till Monday, just because our train was very early on Monday. So we also had Sunday to explore. So on Sunday, we went up to what's called Montmartre, which is basically an art colony on top of a hill. So you take best way I can describe it is like a train that's going like straight up. It's called a funicular. Something like that. The pronunciation might not be right, but something like that. So you take that up to the top, and then it's just this breathtaking view of all of Paris.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And there's a chapel up there called the Sacré-Cœur, which was absolutely beautiful from the outside and inside. And there's tons of people up there as well, but just breathtaking views.
Yeah.
One we did go inside the chapel Sacré-Cœur, and it was a Sunday, so there was actually a service going on at the time, which was kind of weird, I thought, just because we were like touring the thing and walking around while there was a service going on, so it just felt a little odd.
It was a little bit strange.
But I was glad we got to do it,
right?
Because it was really pretty to see. So then after that, we just walked around the rest of Montmartre. Like I said, it's an art colony, so there was artists everywhere on the street trying to get you to have them paint you a picture of yourself, doing like self-portraits and stuff. And people were selling art, beautiful art.
Yeah, pretty awesome
I know
stuff.
Kirsty and I think Jackie got some art while they were there, so absolutely beautiful up there. And then there's a really good street performer as well.
The Prestige was their name. Like them on Facebook. I like them so much. It's 3 guys. They sang with I would say kind of like an African sounding twang.
Yeah.
And they had covers of Everything She Does Is Magic and just all these awesome songs. Even the songs that were 100% in French, I found myself jamming along to.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience.
Any time someone donated, they would bring them up they were just on the set of steps. They'd pull the person up and dance with them, and they were just great energy.
Shook everyone's hand, whoever donated. So that was it was really cool.
Yeah,
to see. I was glad that we happened to catch them while they were performing.
Let's see. So yeah.
So then after that, we went back down to the bottom, and we got on the metro, and we went to Notre Dame, which is the really obviously, I'm sure everyone that's watching this has heard of it. It's a really famous cathedral, and it is also breathtaking from the outside and inside. Hunchback of Notre Dame, where it kind of comes from.
Right.
So that we did the tour of the inside of that. Really pretty. There was not a service going on at the time, so it didn't feel weird. But we were going to go to the top. You can go to the top of the tower that it has, which apparently gives really good views. But there was a really long line for it, and we wanted to walk around and do more stuff.
Right.
So we decided to do that rather than wait in line. But really cool. Notre Dame was well worth it to go to.
Absolutely. From there, since we skipped out of the line, we walked down to the Saint Chapelle. It's another chapel. I feel like everywhere we go, we're seeing different chapels and
another
things like that.
Another bloody cathedral.
But they're all a sight to see. So why not? This one, however, was very distinct. You go into a room, and basically every single wall is stained glass, and they even have each different pane is a different book from the Bible
or a story.
So you read it from the bottom to the top, kind of in a snaking fashion like that. And I don't know if any of us were really well versed enough to be able to read the kind of basic pane drawings of different stuff.
It was difficult to identify. Some of the stories you could very easily identify.
Right.
but the rest were kind of hard. But they
Right.
kind of broke them down sometimes. So if you looked on the bottom, but I've never in my life seen more stained glass
Yeah.
in one room than
It's out of control.
right there. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable the amount that was in there.
Super cool. They have a big altar, and behind that is the Passion, so it's kind of fitting. And then on the opposite wall is a giant circle of pane glass, and that is the story of Revelations, the end times. And it's on the side where the sun sets, so it's kind of metaphoric in that way. But overall, just a very cool place.
Beautiful again.
We especially enjoyed the sides where the sun was shining in. Stained glass isn't all that effective without a lot of sunlight.
Yeah, it doesn't
so-
look that good when there's no sun coming
Right.
through, which I just never had really noticed. I mean, it makes sense, but I'd never really noticed it till in there
Right.
when one side was having the sun and the other wasn't. But yeah, really beautiful. As was, I mean, as you can probably tell, everything in Paris was beautiful.
Right.
They have some really unique architecture, and just everything is just always beautiful. But from there, we went to what's called the Lovelock Bridge, although it's not really a bridge anymore where we went because the bridge was it was structurally damaging
Overloaded
because of
by all the locks.
by the locks. It's the bridge that you've probably heard of where people you buy a lock or you bring a lock and you write your initials on it, or if you and your loved one, and you lock it on the bridge and then you throw the key into the river. So that's still a thing there now. So that was cool to be at and see all the. There's just so many locks,
Yeah.
unbelievable amount.
I spent a lot of time trying to find initials of people that I knew, like couples. It's pretty fun.
We saw one that was MF, so Media Fellows. We
Yeah. Saw actually a couple MFs. Imhart F.
Yeah,
2015.
so that was also super cool.
Greek letters on there. Lots of families, I guess, come and put their family lock on there.
A lot of people do engagement things for there. So really cool to see.
Romantic trip to Paris.
Yeah. So then after that, we found an Australian bar,
The Oz Cafe.
the Oz Cafe, which was super cool. Got some drinks there, trying to kill time. Cool to be at an Australian bar because they actually did speak
Yeah.
they spoke English
Right.
with an Australian accent, some of them. But so that made it nice to hear a familiar sound.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then we had booked with our hostel a river cruise.
Yeah.
Because it ended up being really affordable, and we were like, why not while we're here? So it left from the Eiffel Tower, so we went back to the Eiffel Tower, got on, and rode the whole river and had audio guides throughout, so it gave a good history. We did it at nighttime as well, so it was really pretty to see kind of the Paris coastline. It's not really a coast, but
River drag.
at night, so that was really pretty.
All lit
Good
up.
end. It was a really good ending night, I thought.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then the next morning at around 5:40, we took our train back to London.
Yeah, back on the Eurostar. Just a day of travel, and we were all just dead on Monday.
We all basically just went to bed when we got home around 10:30. Slept for 6 hours.
Yeah, I think I probably slept until 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon. So,
that concluded Paris.
and then
And then we had big exciting news what we did last night.
we went to a football match. This is Southampton.
Football being
football club.
soccer,
Right.
obviously.
Not NFL in London like they have. But anyways, Southampton Football Club played Aston Villa, and it was very competitive.
It was a Capital One Cup game, which is basically it's like a tournament basically, where all these teams are playing and they keep getting eliminated. So this was Aston Villa versus Southampton. They were tied. They played 2 times of 4, and one won and the other one won. So they were tied going into this. So it was a really big deal for both teams because whichever team lost was eliminated from the Capital One Cup. It was in Southampton. We were rooting for Southampton, but there was a lot of Aston Villa fans.
Oh
there.
yeah, like
they were
a full quarter of the section.
Yeah.
Or the stadium, I should say. And they were rowdy the entire game. I don't know.
They never sat down.
They never sat down, never shut up. Just absolutely obnoxious, which was cool to see.
They take it so seriously.
They were so.
And you literally so for how they do their seating, if you're an Aston Villa fan, you can only buy tickets in a certain section. Right. If you're a fan of the away team, you can only buy tickets in certain sections. which is something that we don't really do in our country that much. And you can't even get to them. Like, the Southampton fans couldn't even really get to the Aston Villa fans without climbing a fence. And there was security, police everywhere. It was really, really unique. And they don't, also interestingly, they don't allow you to bring alcohol that you can buy alcohol at the concession stands out in, like, the hallway where you'd, like, enter, but you can't bring it to your seat.
Right.
Which is not a rule that we have.
Usually.
Right. But it was unique. They don't really drink that much at their games.
Probably drink quite a bit before.
They drink quite a bit before, but it's not like they don't tailgate. They don't tailgate in the parking lots. They just love their football and their team that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought American sports get rowdy as far as fans go.
Not
even close.
That level.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, at least that I've seen. And they were not afraid to use any word in their chant, including,
some not really nice words.
"You are effing shit" was a chant that they did often to a certain tune. You are.
Yeah.
Which to me was just ridiculous because there was I could pick out kids in the stands doing the chant next to their parents, and the parents didn't care.
Yeah, it was super weird.
Something that they do.
It's just it's like in their blood almost.
Right.
Just to be that over the top.
Yeah.
But the good news, Southampton won. 2-1. It came down almost to the last couple minutes. Southampton was leading 2-0 until the 90th minute, and then Aston Villa scored one. But it was really good to see a win. So we got some merchandise from them because I always wanted a jersey from Southampton.
And any time a goal was scored, the stadium just exploded, which was probably my favorite part of the game.
Luckily, it was a decently high-scoring game, 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. Saw some goals.
Yeah, so then we headed back to Winchester, obviously, which Southampton and Winchester are basically neighboring cities, I believe. Right. It's about an 8-minute train ride, so super easy. Stadium was sold out as well. It was that big of a game. It was. I read today it was 31,514 people were there, which is sold out stadium. So awesome. So Southampton will continue in the Capital One Cup, and who knows, maybe they'll win the whole thing.
Who knows?
But we'll actually be going back to Southampton kind of tomorrow.
Okay. To
go to the airport.
Oh, okay. Right.
We're flying
Southampton Airport. Not Southampton Central.
Two different train stations, but Southampton nonetheless.
Okay. Fair enough.
So we'll be going back to Southampton Airport tomorrow as we're flying to Dublin, Ireland. We're going to celebrate Halloween there.
Got our costumes.
Yeah, got our costumes. Stay tuned for that.
A minion.
I was going to make it a surprise, but now we're
going to be Chewbacca.
But now you know. But we're going to do a tour of the Guinness factory, which I've actually done before, but it's really cool. Just see all that Ireland has to offer. Just another country to tick off the list that we can say we've been to. So we'll probably try to take some video there. There'll probably be some pretty funny videos from Halloween.
Yeah.
We don't have any this week to put in, but we'll try to get some for next week.
Pub crawls on Temple and
the Temple. Our hostel is like right outside the Temple Bar District, which is like the main old bar. It's just the main place that everyone goes. So we're really excited about that as a whole.
It's gonna be awesome. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we took a couple weeks off of doing this, so we're definitely gonna do one next week. And then we're headed to Prague next weekend.
So we'll have plenty to continue the conversation with.
Yeah. So other than that, we'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good. See you guys.